It's the big 4-0 for Mario, and while that would signal a bit of a midlife crisis in many men, he's already taken up all manner of sports, become an avid kart racer for decades, and even spends many a weekend playing board games with his friends and family. So what else is there for him to do but reminisce about the time that he went to space in Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2? This pair of games are rightly held up as two of the very best platformers of all time. Those opening hours of Mario Galaxy are still an absolute delight as you bounce between small celestial bodies, run any and all directions around oddly shaped planetoids and structures, head into a strange space hill for some gravity shifting 2D platforming, and then still find that there's more traditional feeling Mario levels as well. Well, about as traditional as you can be when you get to turn into Bee Mario and have to clamber around on a queen bee's body to find things that are annoying her. This remains an exceptional platformer, but Nintendo weren't quite done with this concept. Super Mario Galaxy 2 showed just how much fertile ground there still was, adding Yoshi into the gameplay mixture, using his tongue to grab things with a pointer, new power-ups like the drill and the cloud, and much more. It was a fantastic follow-up that for many people actually eclipsed the original. Remastering these two games is no small feat, and one of the problems with Nintendo's more experimental phase, starting with the Wii and the DS, is just how difficult it can be to translate their Wiimote pointer and touchscreen controls to more typical controllers and consoles. Mario Galaxy was built with the screen pointer in mind to gobble up star chunks and fire them at enemies and interact with objects, grab onto items on screen and to trigger spin moves with a quick waggle of the remote. Thankfully with a button press as a backup. It then becomes even more integral in Galaxy 2 as you often rely on Yoshi to gobble things up and grab things with his tongue to then pull them back in the opposite direction. Now thankfully, none of this is really a problem for the Switch or the Switch 2 when playing on TV. You've got motion sensors built into all of the official controllers, and so playing on TV with Joy-Con in hand, moving with the left stick and pointing with your right hand does a great job of capturing that original Nintendo Wii feeling. You could even tie the wrist straps together for a truly authentic Wiimote and nunchuck experience if you wanted. As the game has been enhanced for the Switch 2 in particular, the one thing that is missing for the solo player is that you can't use your right hand as a mouse pointer. This is reserved only for player 2, and I guess this might have required a few too many button remapping gymnastics to be comfortable for Nintendo to adopt. You can obviously also play with the Switch Pro controller, and this also works great, though it does feel a bit more clumsy to be tilting both hands together to move the cursor around on screen. But the real thing that these remasters needed to solve was playing in handheld mode. The real pain point for the 35th anniversary 3D All-Stars rendition of Mario Galaxy came with the handheld experience. Here, instead of letting you tilt the console to move a pointer around on the screen, you are forced to lift a hand and touch the screen to interact with everything. That is still an option with these 40th anniversary remasters, and it can occasionally make things a little bit easier, like with grabbing things quickly back to back with Yoshi's tongue, but now you can also use motion as well. It is a comprehensive improvement in this regard. The handheld experience is just one sign of a remaster that does dig deeper and goes much further to make both of these games feel as native as possible. It extends to many more areas as well, so while the menus still look and feel like the Nintendo Wii menus with gigantic buttons that you can point at or touch, the cursor can also snap to buttons when using the analog stick or D-pad. There's also new and revised game options that are built into the game's menus instead of, as with the 35th anniversary edition, the Switch Online-like emulator overlay. And then you're no longer prompted to save after every level completion or major story milestone, and there's even a whole new assist mode that has been baked into the game that modifies it so you now have 6 pips of health for Mario, you've got health recovery when just simply standing still, and easy recoveries from falls into oblivion, which grab you into a bubble and just bring you back to ground. And then there are all of the graphical improvements. On Switch 2 you now have 1080p when playing handheld and a 4K output to TV. Nintendo's aversion to anti-aliasing remains, but when the resolutions match your screens it feels so much better, and it is paired with revamped textures throughout the game that generally feel like someone has wiped away the Vaseline from your glasses. Other petroleum jellies are also available to smear on your glasses, of course. We've got things like the grass textures, which have gone from mottled colours to having much more distinct shaped patches of colour, or there's now even a checkerboard pattern overlaid on the sky of the Honey Hive galaxy way off into the distance, something which you can clearly see now, which wasn't really obvious before. Is it perfect? Well, not quite. There are some texture swaps that shift in what feels like a less detailed direction, and that could detract a little bit from the original art style. And there's also places that aren't improved, like Captain Toad's very low poly count model, and I'd argue that the Switch 2 in particular should be able to handle a longer draw distance and remove some more of the sometimes quite obvious shadow pop-in. I also feel that the pre-rendered cutscenes could have had a much bigger improvement. They have been completely re-rendered, there's been texture swaps and model improvements within these as well, and they've got an opened up aspect ratio. But because of the massive amounts of depth of field in place, they still come off as being relatively low resolution and indistinct. Still, this is a generally handsome set of remasters that, judging by the initial reaction of the announcement where many people thought that this was just a simple upscaling, it does a great job of capturing what you remember these games as having looked like 15 years ago. It's only when you sit down and do side-by-side comparisons that you will really absolutely 100% be able to tell the difference. There's not too much more to this bundle beyond that. There's a new storybook in Galaxy 2, for example, and that is part of why a lot of people have thought that the pricing is rather steep. In truth, it is in keeping with the Metroid Prime remaster, which came out at £35, and these new remasters are £34 per game, or £59 combined. But if you're still into buying physical games, then you can get a good few quid off that price point. It's up to you if that price is right for you. Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 then are proper remasters of two all-time platforming greats that are long overdue. With tasteful graphical improvements, more integrated gameplay tweaks to make use of the Switch and the Switch 2, and better controls for handheld, they are a solid and sensible way to celebrate someone's 40th birthday. That's all that we've got for our review of Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 remastered for the Switch and Switch 2. That's quite a mouthful to say. I hope that you found this video useful, and if you have enjoyed it, then please do click the like button, the subscribe, all of the usual things for YouTube, which you know back and forth by now, and hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!